It is time for Shannon Vlogs number 12 with a reading update. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm excited to share some awesomeness about some books that I have read recently. The first up is A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline L'Engle. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. I loved this book. I actually started in October as a sort of lighter, spooky read because it's a kid's book. And then I don't know, I stopped reading it. I think it expired. And then I got a physical copy, which has been sitting on my nightstand for months. And then this month or I guess in March, I picked it up again and started at the beginning. I had only read the first chapter and I decided to reread it just because it was so good. It's a kid's book. It's really, large font and, loved it. Absolutely loved it. It's one of the few books that I would say it's not sci-fi slash fantasy, but I would actually put it in both science fiction and fantasy as a category for a genre outside the fact that it's a kid's book. And it just has a wonderful, wondrous, magical, open-minded, and smart and clever and compassionate and just wild and crazy, and just it's a lot about perception in a weird way. I really appreciated it. And the main character, who is named, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is she named? Meg, reminds me so much of my sister Susie. She is so stubborn and so just gonna get in there and gonna say what she thinks, and I love that. So it was an extra treat because I felt like I was spending time with my sister Susie while I was reading the book. So there you go, A Wrinkle in Time. It's part of a quintet, so a 5-book series. I definitely think it's totally fine just to read it on its own. I have requested the second book from the library, but I don't know if I'll continue the series. But I did enjoy it so much. It kind of, the energy of it, the spirit of it reminds me a lot of Harry Potter, although this was of course written before that. I do not know when this was written, but I think I would guess say 60s, yeah, 62. So it feels like it's sort of, and almost every, like when I posted it on Instagram or Facebook, so many people said that it was like their favorite book when they were sort of in the 10 to 12 range. So it's definitely has that sort of, just sometimes it's nice to read a kid's book just because things are a little less like harsh. I find a lot of regular fiction books, things are really harsh. So it's a little less like that. Not saying that it's easy. The things that the kids are dealing with are actually pretty, substantial, but it has a different weight to it. So I really enjoyed it. It's actually not on the Those Books list, but to be honest, I'm putting it on what I call Those Books 2 bookshelf on my Goodreads because I think it should be. I totally think it is worthy of being a Those Books book, and highly recommend that just anyone and everyone should read it and would enjoy it. So there you go. That is A Wrinkle in Time. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah, one of the other things that I wanted to try out this year, this is actually meeting one of my reading goals of the year, is to read all the physical copies that I bought last year or something. I'm trying to, and it's sort of, read everything I had purchased like before or for Christmas by my birthday. So this is included in that. So yay. And one of my other reading goals was to try out a book club. And I did. I Felicia Day has a book club. It's called the Vaginal Fantasy Book Club, and her and 3 other women talk about romance slash blank fiction. So it's all of the books have a romance element, but they are in lots of other kinds of fiction as well, whether it's historical or science fiction or fantasy or steampunk or, paranormal. And for March, they read Fortune's Pond by Rachel Bach, and then they do a live stream, or not a live stream, that is old school now. I think live stream is still around, but they do a Google Hangout live on YouTube. I always think of it as a live stream because you're watching it live. Anyway, they do that on the last Tuesday of every month. So I tried to do this earlier in the year, and I didn't finish the books and all that stuff. But for March, I read Fortune's Pond by Rachel Bach. I loved it. It was science fiction slash romance, and I think it was my first 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5 book of the year. I just loved it. I ate it up. I just enjoyed every minute of it. I didn't realize that there's sort of that one of the things I was missing in my reading was something that wasn't a huge challenge and like Far from the Madding Crowd, or wasn't extremely easy like A Wrinkle in Time. That there's a sort of middle ground, you know, that I can just read and enjoy. I don't have to look up terminology. I understand all the words. I understand what's going on. I can just read it. I can just read it. And so for me, it brought me to really back to realizing that. Like, I guess I don't read a lot of sort of just general fiction, you know, so, and a lot of science fiction and fantasy stuff can be pretty epic. You know, lots of like Over the Years and family trees and fictional monarchies and the science part of the science stuff. And this had sciencey stuff because the story, I haven't talked about Fortune's Wand at all. So, but Fortune's Wand is a, I don't know if I go so far as to say space opera, but I think of space opera as Battlestar Galactica. I don't know if I've read any space opera, but it's based on a sort of different-ish, uh, uh, like, I don't know if it's supposed to be an alternate universe or a future universe, because the main character actually isn't human. She's paradoxian, which in all intents and purposes seem to look and function like humans, but they have a monarchy, like they have a king, and anyway, she wants to work for the king's guard, basically. They're called something else. I didn't feel the need to like keep all the terms, but anyway, so they talk, so she wants to work for the king's guard, she's a mercenary, and then so she works sort of like all the legit things you can do, so she wants to be a mercenary on a mercenary ship that's really challenging, um, because that sort of like shaves 10 years off the experience you need to actually get to where she wants to go. So it's really cool because it's got a female protagonist. She is very proactive. She knows what she wants. She knows how to get it, you know, in all intents and purposes, and she's a real go-getter. And this sort of science fiction sort of elements is the mercenaries are in suits, and so there's a lot of talk of the suit and her guns and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I just straight up enjoyed it. Just great book, as I said, 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. Thrill, like really looking forward to reading the rest of the series. And I did watch the chat on YouTube live, and it's weird because I had watched one of the other ones because I did finish one of the other books, and I watched it sort of recorded, like I watched the recording, and I was really looking forward to the live chat, and then I actually ended up not really enjoying the chat part of the live chat, which is part of the reason of watching it live, is to be part of the chat. But chat has a real, like, it has, there's some things that I feel like never change about chat. Like, one, it's really fast, and, you know, so you really have to get in there. But for me, I was surprised that I didn't love the conversations that were going on that much, and they're always sort of slightly behind or go on tangents from what the folks that are part of the actual, you know, like Felice Day and all the other people, the women, and there was one guy that was a guest this month, and with like the discussion that they were having, so it's sort of like a sideline thing. So I was a little surprised at that and a little disappointed. I thought it would be really fun, and it ended up not being that great. So that was disappointing, but the non-disappointing part was that the book was really awesome, and it was one of my favorite books of the year, and so that makes me really happy. And so I want to go, and they also have a pretty active Goodreads group, and I didn't participate too much in it this time, so I think what I'm going to do is I'll read the book for next month and then participate more in the Goodreads group and see if that's more of something that I am looking for in a book club, you know, that kind of discussion. Because I was really, when I read back from one of the older titles, there was some really interesting intellectual conversations, which is what I was kind of looking for with a book club. But then chat is always chat. Like, chat is funny, and it's in the moment, and it's off the cuff, and sometimes inappropriate, and like it's sort of a different kind of energy. So I'm like, that wasn't quite the energy I was going for. So I think I'll check out the Goodreads group for the book, which means I have to get cracking on their April title. It's The Mirror of Her Dreams by Stephen Donaldson. I think I'll put a link below. And it's like 500 pages, or it's like 579 pages. I was like, whoa! So I don't know, they often tie it into something, and they're tying it into, it's like epic or high fantasy, and Game of Thrones is coming back, so that's the tie-in there. So anyway, I did enjoy the book. I did enjoy their discussion. It was very interesting and lively, but I don't feel the need to do the live part as much. I'll probably watch it like the next day or whatever. So But it also lets me know that I can go back and read any of the older books and then watch the video, and then that will be fun as well. So there you go. So there are two of the books I read this in the past little while. I feel like it was a bit of a fail of a month because I didn't make it through Far from the Madding Crowd, and I've decided to put it aside. So I did not read my book to film challenge book, and I did not even read those books. Although, as I said, I'm considering this sort of like those books too, or Shannon's those books. I gotta figure out a way to put that together. So there you go. That's some reading, and I hope you're having a good reading. Let me know your book club experiences, because I really feel like there's something there that I am looking for, and hopefully I can get it here, but in a different way. So there you go. Thanks for watching.